G'day tubers, welcome back. So this Bitcoin mining thing I am absolutely starting to get into again for some reason. I don't think for a second it's going to ever make me a fortune, but I am enjoying the journey. I've gone out and purchased RX 570 video card, link up here, and just one for now. And I've bought a mining rig mount thing, and I believe it's actually going to fit in my shed. So if you go into my power shed on the right hand side, it should fit across the back at the bottom, so it should fit in there nice and snugly. And that's a 6 GPU mining rig. I think it's only $60 or something off eBay, so I thought, you know what, it's worth a crack and I'll have a look. Now there are some more exciting things afoot. Now, a few weeks ago I said on the live feed that we were going to do a section on the forum for requests for what to be included into upcoming releases of the Batrium Watchmon toolkit. Now, the Batrium BMS is aside from all the other ones in the fact that they do regular updates and they change stuff, and they do take what we say as a community into account when actually planning the next release. And all of those releases are available with the automatic update function within the tools of the Watchmon toolkit. So what I've done is I've gone over to the forum and created a thread where you can put in your wild and crazy dreams for what a BMS can do. This will allow Jaron to assess it on its merits and implement it if it's practical, or implement parts of it as practical, or whatever else. Now this brings me to my next point, which I am excited as all get out about, because I spent no less than 5 hours messing with something I did not understand, and then I reached out to Jaron and I said, please help. Now, as you know, Jaron and I have got a good relationship and stuff like that. This help is not available to the general public. I'm going to have to stress that. Jaron will kill me if he gets this support load that he can't handle. So I have to stress, this is not something that is supported in any way, means or form. I will try and document the parts that I'm allowed to on how I did this. But basically what I've done is I've misused some of the functions within the Watchmon to control a computer. Now, my initial thoughts and my initial requests, and my very first request on this thread on the forum will be to turn something on and off with a pulse from state of charge of the batteries. Now, I've had this kicking around my mind, and I've said it in a lot of other videos, that I'd love to be based on state of charge to be able to turn on a GPO, like a PowerPoint. And if I ever had an electric car, I could actually plug the EVSE charger, I think they call it, into that PowerPoint, and it only ever turned the PowerPoint on when the batteries were at a certain voltage, or no, a certain state of charge, and would actually, instead of just wasting, like once the batteries are fully charged, it wouldn't waste it as heat. It would go into the car battery, which I thought was a very good idea. Now, we've modified that idea a little bit now to, it is actually working and running. I can turn on and off my crypto mining rig, my computer that I recycled from underneath my bench over there, with the Watchmon toolkit. Now, it does have, no, with the Watchmon, the toolkit is the software. Now, limitations. There are a bucket of limitations, and this doesn't work and will not work for everybody. So what we've done is we've taken the voltage, so we can pick 2 voltages, and then we can pick 2 solenoids, and we parallel those solenoids up to the power button. So we've got 2 different pulses, one when batteries are at a certain voltage, and one when batteries are at a minimum voltage. So we can actually we can pulse. Now, the drawback to that is if I had fans and stuff, and I wanted the fans to come on at, say, 30 degrees, it would also pulse it. And I believe the way it works, and I haven't tested this yet because I haven't had a chance to talk to Jaron about it, but it would also it would actually send a pulse to the computer and turn it off when the fan comes on. So I don't think the cooling's going to work, and this is what I think, not what I know. And similarly, if you had to control an inverter or something like that, this won't work. So if you're doing anything else, it won't work. It trips over things, and it doesn't have a standalone function yet. So for and post is going to be used to try and get me what I want on the Watch One toolkit. I think it's possible. It's got to be financially possible. It's got to. There's a workload involved in actually doing all this sort of stuff. So I've got to take into account that. Right, I'm rambling. Let's go down to the shed. Let's see if I can show you the computer turning on. Okay, this is the best way I could actually think of showing you. So what I've basically got is a web camera down there in the battery shed. I have got the door open, as you can see here, and nobody is magically touching anything. So what I'm going to try and do is remoting into my computer down there from my workshop. We'll put that down there, sort of so you can still see it all. Okay, so these are the two settings that we need. We need the low shunt volt and the high shunt volt, and then we got a critical pulse on and critical pulse off on relay 1 and 2. Now at the moment I've only got 2 hooked up. One will be later on in the day, but I can still show you it working with a little bit of fiddling around with the software. Okay, so what we do is we click on edit, and we got low shunt volt, so the state is off at the moment. So the battery voltage is 52.55 volts. So if we put this below that, this will turn back on again. Well, that's the theory anyway. And remembering, I am still only just learning this as well. So so we'll just go 52 volts, enter, and then we hit save. State transition, so it's actually transitioning. So if we look down here, or similarly we look up here, we'll see the lights blink. It takes a few seconds. So we're watching. There we go. Critical pulse on. Okay, so now that's not going to turn the computer on because it's not hooked up to relay 1, it's hooked up to relay 2. So what I will do now is I need to pulse it a second time, and that'll do the critical pulse off. So now if I go back up to edit up here, so 52, so change it to 54, enter, and that puts it above this voltage. And don't worry about the semantics of it, we still have to set it all up properly, but this is proof of concept. Okay, so now if we go save, saving the settings, and now the critical pulse off status light, there we go, just turned on, and the fan's running on the computer, and the screen's come on. Look at that, it actually works. I'm absolutely stoked. Now let's let that boot up, and then we'll turn it off again. Now of course this is completely just a test rig. I have literally just grabbed a hard drive off the desk, thrown it into the computer, bodged up this computer here just because I didn't want to blow up my other computer that was actually working, so I just bodged it up so it would work. And basically, I don't know if you can see it here while we're waiting, there's a cable here which is leading up to the Watchmon toolkit, Watchmon, and that is what is just plugged into the 2 pins, the power button pin on the motherboard. So that just turns on and off like a normal power button on a computer. Okay, so that's logged in. So if we go shunt volt low, so if we change that again, we go edit, and we change that to below this figure. So we go to 52 volts, enter. Now we hit save, success. Now it's transitioning, so it'll take 30 seconds. There we go. I think it's 30 seconds. It's either 30 seconds or 5 seconds, but these ones here control how quickly it turns on and off. So it doesn't jump around like crazy. And this will also stop the computer from turning off on a cloud edge effect. So when the battery voltage spikes up too high, it won't actually turn on. And if it drops too low under load, it won't turn off. With a little bit of tweaking, I might actually even take that up to a minute, but for this purpose, we'll just leave it where it is. So we should have pulse off, should pulse now, I think. I think that's the way it works. Oh, no, I've got to do it again because I don't have the 2 hooked up. So I've got to pulse it again on the top one. So that's battery state okay. Okay, so that's my fault. So if I go to edit again and just change that to 53 volts, enter, and then hit save, shut low, and now this should start turning off. It should have, there we go, it pulsed on 2, relay 2. Now the computer should start the shutdown procedure. There we go, done. Get in. That actually works, and it worked on camera, so I'm even more impressed with that. It still needs some tweaking, but it's there. Now I can actually build my mining rig, and with the mining rig, I think I said earlier, the mining rig should go, so if you sort of square it off down here, and it should go underneath these batteries at the back, nice and neat and tidy if my measurements are correct. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm happy as all get out that this is actually working, and I'm going to see you on the next one when I do something else probably randomly useless. Cheers, tubers.